Okay, we are live. Happy Monday, everyone. That was quick, Robin. I pressed the button and it went live right away.
Happy Monday, Nancy. I'm so glad that worked.
So let me just get me live on Instagram. And then I think we have a little delay on our words and our mouth. So if we are a little off sync, please bear with us here. Sometimes it happens. So welcome, Robin. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you, Nancy. Great to be here.
All right, so let's talk. Nice to be here. Oh, we definitely have a delay. All right, so I'm going to check out my Wi-Fi here. All right, so we're talking today about effective website strategies for your interior design services page. So talk to me about what a services page, in your opinion, as a web designer to interior designers, what they should be looking at.
So it is one of the most important pages on your website because it is where you bring your prospective clients from where they are today to where they want to be. Because like I always say, the most important thing to do on your services page is sell the transformation that your services provide to your ideal clients. So we don't want to get into the nitty gritty of what's included in your service, but rather the transformation that they'll get from working with you and hiring you to perform this service for them. And depending on how many services you have and what they are, you may have one services page or you may have multiple services pages. And deciding on that is really going to come down to what your services are, who the audience is for them, user experience, and then search engine optimization as well. So there's no right or wrong. It really depends on your individual business and what you offer.
Okay, but I want to ask a couple more questions about individual service pages for each of your services. Do you have one example of where that would be applicable for an interior designer?
Absolutely. So let's say you offer full service interior design, and let's say you offer custom window treatments and you offer designer for a day. Those are three really different services geared towards three different kinds of clients. Full service and designer for a day are two very different kinds of clients. They have different budgets. They're looking
Yes.
for different things from you. They might search for it very differently online. And your custom window treatments, you might be speaking to homeowners and other designers, for example, if you have a workroom. So again, there are three really different services that people would search for differently, and you're going to speak differently to those audiences. Another one where you would speak very differently is if you work with builders. So you're going to speak to a homeowner in a very different manner than you're going to speak to a builder who you're looking to partner with and do spec books and interior finishes for them. So again, for user experience and also for SEO, we're probably going to want to break those services out onto separate pages. We don't want the homeowner having to read through all the builder information and vice versa.
I can see that now that you said it, like services, residential, commercial, builder, or something like that could be another example.
Exactly. There's so many different ways that it can be broken down, and you really just want to think about who your ideal client or clients are and what's going to be the best path for them to follow.
Yes, the best path for them, not what you feel you want to do, but really the user experience, which you always highlight really well.
Exactly.
I know we always have a interior designer volunteer their website to be reviewed, or at least one page of their website. So if anyone's watching and you would like your website reviewed in the future, do we have any slots available left, Robin?
We do have slots available, I think, starting in March or April. So if anybody would like to be considered, please let us know. You can message me or Nancy. You can drop something in the comments and we can get you added to the list. So, awesome. And today, Ellie Redders of Ellie Redders Interiors has graciously offered her website, and she has asked that we take a look at her services page. So I thought we could go through that. And The nice thing is right here at the top in her hero section, I love that she's letting visitors know that they're on the services page. We always want to eliminate confusion and make everything simple and easy. So just saying services there, that's great because she's letting people know that they're in the right spot. And I absolutely love the photo of her and her team. I think that's a great image to have there. So really well done. A couple of improvements that I would suggest to Ellie to consider are the text font is a very small size. I have a little bit of trouble reading it, and
Me too.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I wonder if Robin's going to say that the font needs to be a little bigger. Yeah.
A little bit bigger just for legibility, because obviously, you spend a lot of time on the copy and the messaging on your website. We want to make it legible so that people can actually read it. Just make it as easy as possible for them to see it. So I would definitely consider that. What I do really like is the font hierarchy, so that services is larger and all caps. So we know that that's a heading and then the body text is smaller, but I would definitely increase the size of the body text. And then in terms of the words in this area, this is the section where you really want to make a bold statement and present your offer in plain English about the outcomes that you offer. You want to immediately differentiate yourself from everybody else who's offering interior design services. And making that bold statement at the top is definitely going to help accomplish this. And, you want to just summarize the transformation you provide, not the deliverables, the cost, or the timeline. We don't need to get into that here. So that's just a suggestion for some information that could go there. And then if we move down just a little bit to the next section, again, I really love that she's got, a 2-column setup with an image and then the text. But rather than showing this image, I might suggest that we put an image of Ellie's beautiful work there.
I think one of the things that Ellie's company does, well, I know because she's coached with me, is she's really bringing in this virtual reality into her practice. So she's trying to emphasize that. But I think this is not a picture that should be highlighted so big. The VR services can be highlighted in a different way. And what's interesting to me is that there's really no services here directly. This is her process.
Exactly. And I was going to say, again, we want to make the font a little bit bigger. And the bullet points, I would actually suggest making them upper and lowercase rather than all caps. That is easier to read. And the heading can be all caps and larger. Right, for font art hierarchy. And again, I don't recommend listing out everything that's included in the service because a lot of potential clients aren't actually going to understand some of what's written there.
Yeah, like trade day. Nobody understands outside of the industry what trade day is.
And even procurement is not a word that they're necessarily familiar with. And again, they're more interested in how your service can help them achieve their goal rather than what's included in it. So what I recommend actually putting in this section is showing that you have a really clear understanding of what your ideal client is struggling with. Like why are they actually reaching out to you? Like what's their problem that your service can solve? And identify your ideal client. Let them know they're in the right place. Speak directly to them in words that they would use so that you are actually showing them that you get them. You want to alleviate any fear that they might have around hiring someone like you. Highlight how you can help, right? So not necessarily everything that's actually included in the service. And then if we scroll down a little bit more, I think this is, that's it for the page. So I have a couple of suggestions for Ellie of some other information that can be really worthwhile to include on a services page. So something that you might want to put in next is client testimonials. That's your social proof. And nothing shows the value of your work better than kind words from clients who you've worked with, right? These are strong sales pitches in somebody else's words raving about you. So I would recommend doing, 1 or 2 or 3 excerpts from past client testimonials that speak directly to the service or services that you're talking about on this page.
Gotcha.
So it relates to the content.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like what I normally recommend is what are your services and who is it perfect for, which falls right into your vision of what do people expect, right? Full service design, who is it perfect for? It's perfect for, and you're then highlighting your perfect ideal client for your full service design so they can visualize themselves in here, where this is not really saying exactly what the service is
Right.
at all. And that's really the issue. So if there's a designer for a day, a designer on call, or whatever you want to call it, or just full service design, or finishes and fixtures, or what do you do? And
custom home remodeling and renovation, whatever it is that you do. Yeah, you want to really, state that and then say, this is for you if.
Right. And as an added bonus for Ellie, like, her services can be like, we're different because like some kind of, not wording it perfectly, but what makes them different? This VR that she's bringing into her business is in a big way, and making it a lot of the future of her company can be highlighted here as we do this unlike any other firm in a very business-like way.
Oh, yes. And if Ellie is, really moving towards virtual reality, that is something, that's her USP, her unique selling proposition. Right?
Yes.
I mean, and that's so important. And she wants to get that across all over her website. That makes her unique, different from everyone else. And we always want to highlight our uniqueness. We don't want to blend in and look like everybody else.
I know. I feel like she should be like, does your interior designer use virtual reality? Because we do. Like something bold. And again, may not be perfectly worded, but bold everywhere as part of her process, but it's part of her unique selling proposition, like you said. It's it's easy for some people to find their unique selling proposition, and it's harder for others. This is one that's kind of glaring for me, that this is something she does different from any other interior design firm so far. I
love it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Cool. Yeah. And if she even has something that can take it even a step further, is there something from her past experience that made her want to go in that direction?
Tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also maybe show a little video, which might be on one of the other pages, and we're only reviewing the service page right now. But it's a very interesting business model that she's moving forward with. And we'd like to see it more distinct on the website, but also very clear to the clients when they come to her.
For sure. For sure.
Anything else?
Aside from the testimonials, I would recommend sharing your process here on a high level. So you might have a 16-step process that you take your clients through. We don't need that on your website. A high level 4, 5, 6, phases of your process. What is the step 1? What is step 2? What's it called? And maybe a sentence or two, not every little detail that doesn't need to be shared here. But just something that, your process can set you apart. Your process shows that you know what you're doing, that you have experience. Your process is something that puts you in control of the project. So it's a really good thing to share on a high level on the services page. But again, we want to keep it simple. We don't want to overwhelm the visitors with too much information.
Simple and 5th grade language. That's kind of the,
For sure. And then an FAQ section can be something that is really useful to have on a services page. If you're finding that on your discovery calls, you're being asked the same kinds of questions over and over again, add that to an FAQ section. It can be a great place to it's a great way to get more content on the page. It's a great way to get keywords into the content. So FAQs can be really beneficial to add onto a services page.
In order to help you with your SEO.
For
Search
sure.
engine optimization.
For sure. And then
Anything else?
finally, and probably most importantly, we want to have a call to action.
Yeah, well, there's an inquire here, but
There
is that
is,
enough? Let's
but we
see what
want,
happens when you hit inquire.
I think it goes
Oh,
to
what a
her
pretty
contact
picture.
page, which is great.
Yep.
But I'd like to see that turned into a slightly more substantial section on the page. So not just a button, but maybe some good words that would entice somebody to click the button. Maybe there's an image in the background. Maybe it's, again, a 2-column setup with an image on one side and the call to action on the other. Something that will be visually interesting design-wise and get the visitor's eye to go there and notice it and want to take action. And the call to action for your website can be, it should be, your primary call to action should be whatever the primary goal of your website is. So generally for interior designers, it is to contact you to book that discovery call. But it can be to sign up for an email list. It can be to purchase something. So again, it depends on the business, what it is. There's no right or wrong, but you want to have a primary call to action on every page.
Okay.
We need
And
to gently guide visitors to take the action we want them to take. They don't know what that is.
yes, and I would also say we may have a few too many questions here, and it might bounce people off. Again, it depends on how much you're trying to pre-screen before you go to someone's house.
Yep.
But how important is the quality when selecting furnishings? Not a regular layperson, residential homeowner may not have the education yet to make that decision. And they may just, well, I'm going to say price is important because I don't want them to think I'm spending. So sometimes you got to look at the psychology behind the questions that you ask also, and see whether it's really served you well in the past. And interesting, this is kind of the services.
Yes.
Right? New construction, large scale renovation, full home furnishing and styling, kitchen renovation, one room furnishing. These are her services kind of.
Yep, they kind of are. Yeah.
Right. So again, there's some modification I would make there, but
yes. And I would agree with you, Nancy. I think the inquiry form on your website, there's a fine line between, you want to gather the kind of information that you really need to have an effective discovery call in terms of pre-screening, but you don't want to ask so much that you're scaring them off and them bouncing away because you're asking for too much information. So sometimes it takes a little bit of experimenting.
Yes,
to find
it
that
definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that was awesome, Robin. Any other things we need to remind people of before we?
The only other thing I would just mention about Ellie's site, and this is something that we see over and over again, is I didn't notice any legal policies in the footer section. And because she has a contact form, which means she is collecting personal information, she must have a privacy policy.
Okay. All right, Ellie, hopefully you're watching on replay and you're going to get a privacy policy for sure and make some of these amazing changes that Robin has suggested to you. Robin, thank you so much. Always so helpful, because I think everyone's website is different. Every person is different. Everybody's niche is different and the way they run their business. But it's really important to reflect what your clients will want to see in order to hire you on your website. And that's always what you really focus on, which I love. Besides, relaying your services properly, how do they want to see it? What will make them pull the trigger? What will make them fill out that form?
Yes, it's so true, Nancy. Everything about your website, the branding there, the messaging there, the design, it is all there so that it resonates with and attracts your ideal clients.
Yes.
And dare I say, even repel the kinds of clients that you don't want to work with. What we want to do on your website is make sure the kinds of people that you don't want to work with, your non-ideal clients, are turned off and they're not filling out your inquiry form.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, Robin, tell everyone what you do and how they can find you.
Yeah, that's great. So I do custom website design. I have website templates. I offer SEO services as well. And you can find me on my website, which is rdwdesignstudio.com. And you can also find me on Instagram, which is RDW Design Studio. I follow back all designers and I post lots of helpful tips.
Yay. Okay. And I hear your templates are fantastic.
Thank you.
Besides, your custom websites are beyond fantastic, but even your templates are fantastic. So if people want to save a little money, do it themselves, your
And
templates
do
are
it faster.
and faster. Yes, this is true. As a first step, even if you need to. So
It's a great way to start and get something up there that's professionally designed. Yep.
yes. Well, thank you for being a sponsor of my world here in the Interior Design Business Forum. And we will see you next month for the next website we're going to review. And to remind everyone who's watching, who just came on, if you want your website as a possible review in March, April, or May, we're scheduling
Right around
now.
there. Yep.
All right. Just tag Robin, put a comment in, and we'll add you to the list and contact you and let you know when it's happening. So
Yeah.
thanks, Robin. Bye, everyone. Go have a great Monday and an incredible week.
Bye.
Bye.